right?
Right.
All sorts of people here. It's not like it was a secret that this stuff got lost.
And that's where I'm like reaching out to you. I get that we stink in some areas. How can we be better? And that's maybe where your brain can help us, right? Because you're going to bring something to
So
this.
I'm just simply wondering why you don't have some kind of corrective action for when you lose stuff.
We do.
What-
So-
What general order is it?
That's not action, right? That just deals with, this is the protocol. The
Okay.
corrective action, we didn't know it was lost,
You
right?
figure out
reconcile.
why your process is not working correctly.
Correct. This is where you can be very constructive. This is where I want to partner up with you, right? I don't mind if you point out all of our flaws, but if you don't have good recommendations for us, and it's not just, hey, show me where this is at and what are you doing about it?
If I were you, I would write a general order that says if you lose this, you bring it to your supervisor's attention.
But here's what this presupposes. It presupposes knowledge that it's lost.
You knew it was lost.
Walk me down that trail, because I can't see
He
it.
wrote an email
Mhm.
saying, oh yes, I lost this. He knew it, right? So then he
Mm-hmm.
would, at that point, he would go to your supervisor, says, I screwed up, I lost this,
And that's what that IT ticket was, and that's where they found it. It was,
okay, and did you ever send a note to the prosecutor? Oh, by the way, we lost some evidence and it's kind of important.
no, because at that point it wasn't important, because the case was, so,
No, the case was not dismissed till after, they had figured out they had lost the evidence, and there was a month window when they did absolutely nothing, and they could have done something, and then finally it went to court, and it was dismissed then. The evidence was all found way before she actually, the summons date. She had already been summoned, true, but there was a way big window of a month before she actually had to show up for the summons, before she had to hire an attorney, right? The officer could easily done corrective action.
well, and that's where we're talking, right? Maybe differences of industry, right? What you're saying is lost. I guess I'm maintaining it's not lost. I know I filed something, right?
If the prosecutor didn't see it, it's really irrelevant, it's lost. If the prosecutor couldn't see this evidence, it therefore it played into no way in what was happening.
I don't know that. The scope of mine, I don't know what they did or did not. They proceeded with a case. So they had something where they were sufficiently happy that they were going to go to court with, right?
Yeah.
So that, to me,
Ex
presupposes.
and his former mistress.
Right,
And that's absolutely it.
right. So here's what I'm asking of you.
Right.
If you're willing to actually immerse yourself to understand, not believe that you
I
can
don't think
understand.
there's any amount of.
Well, not with that attitude. Come on.
No,
I'm challenging you.
I'm just simply telling you that I just don't see that. Basically, it sounds like an indifference to what was happening.
And that's where I don't know how to change your mind about that. It's not an indifference, right? It is, we're at this impasse of understanding, right?
Well,
I want you to understand.
I understand that the way it's supposed to work is you're a police department and the prosecutor is supposed to be separate, right? And you throw the stuff over the wall.
Can I use your pens here?
Sure.
Okay, so if these three items are evidence, right, of a case, and that's on body cam, that I've seized it, and these are the only two that we can account for, this is now what we would consider missing evidence, misplaced, mishandled evidence. It is unaccounted for, okay? We have policies for that, okay? Now, if these three are seized, but they're under the wrong report number, the question is asked of, hey, what happened to this evidence? And now we find it, it's not missing. It's
All right.
considered an error, okay?
So what word
there
do you like to
isn't
use?
discipline for that. There isn't a system for that. That's a coding error on the front end, and what I'm asking of you is,
Okay,
in
so-
your mind, based upon your industry, if you had a similar thing happen, how do you guys, in your job, reconcile that when it
I
isn't
would-
missing,
I
right?
would put it back, and then I would, whoever's supposed to have seen it, I would say, oh, by the way, I fucked up, and I think you need to look at this.
Right. So nobody's questioning whether or not an error was made. Is that error just because of pure sloppiness, or is this something that, unfortunately, in that first month, we do have those where, even writing a check, right, where you date something like.
Anybody
crap.
can make,
Right.
anybody can make a mistake, including leaving an email in someone's email account and not putting it in with the case. Anybody can make any one of those mistakes, right?
Right.
The difference here is that the officer knew, and my guess is he probably even told the supervisor, and that basically no one decided that it was important. Not important enough to contact the prosecutor and say, oh, you know what? This is pretty significant information and we forgot to give it to you.
And that's where, like, that's just a hurdle that I'm struggling with how to get you over, right?
All right.
I don't investigate the prosecutor, right?
No,
We're not going to, right? So I'm not asking them.
It's not the
Right.
prosecutor's fault, right?
No. As far as, I don't know, and it's not germane to this discussion right now, what they did or didn't have access to. At some point, they're proceeding with a case, they're satisfied with what they had access to.
Yeah,
Okay?
on the 7th of January, March.
Right. So at that point, right, they have something, and if they're happy with it, because guess what the prosecutor does if they're not happy with something?
Drunk.
No, or they ask.
Or they ask
"Hey,
you to go back and be better.
where's this at? Hey, you logged evidence here, but I don't see it. Where's that at, right? So those are the checks and balances that are in place. Those are normal, but we can't have a policy for every contingency that could occur, right? That's
Even though
improbable,
you apparently
right?
right one up, I agree with that, it's kind of impossible.
Yeah, it wouldn't be feasible, right? It would be a book probably to the ceiling at this point. So, but that's not the intent of general orders, right? That's a specific solution to a specific problem.
Right.
Statistically, we've probably spoke more about it than the problems that actually occurred or created, right? So moving forward, if our records people, right, is it a communication issue or is it a capability issue? What can we do so when Brian Vaughn shows up again and is saying apples, our people are not hearing oranges, okay? They're hearing apples,
I think
right?
that it's unlikely that you'll be able to fix these general problems.
Why?
I mean, just because it's human nature.
Okay. All
Right?
right.
But still doesn't affect, basically, you charged and hassled a single mother
I
and her
reject,
2 children.
hold on, I reject that term.
Right.
We didn't hassle anybody. This is a law, right? He called, he made a claim. We're bound by law to investigate that.
Oh,
Can
I
we
don't have
agree
a
with
problem,
that?
I don't have a
Okay.
problem with that.
Where's the hassle coming in? Because that's a term.
He shows up, he used words like, no one has used the word scream. He used the word scream, right? No, even they didn't use the word scream. And he's fun, you screamed at them, you banged on their window, you were hitting it. He said, it was quite clear. It doesn't seem so quite clear now. Right? He said it was quite clear. He said that you will be charged. He said you were screaming, and even they don't say that. So he was keyed up. Right?
Okay, and that's where I want to also ask you, where is kid? All right, I don't consider that a hassle, that he's not hassling anybody, right? He has a legal reason to have that contact.
Okay.
If we disagree with terminology, right, that's not something I investigate.
All right. So,
Okay,
so another thing is, so for example, when they came in, he could tell that they don't speak very good English, right? Even you probably can tell that they don't speak very good English. So to them, Ray Fong speaks really good English because she speaks better English than they do. But is she able to correctly talk to an officer and watch her words? No, not even close. So for example, when the officer knocked on the door, what did she say? Oh, Brian, there's an officer inside your house. He wasn't inside my house. Right? the bottom line is she is not capable of talking to an officer, and the officer will use anything she says against her, right? And the bottom line is she's using her version of English, right? And the officer shouldn't even shown up. The moment he could tell that she's not doing too good on English, right? He should have disengaged and brought a translator, right? But no, he's assuming that she speaks good English. That's because Jimmy and June, who speak really bad English, told him that.
Well, and that's where another one, I will say unequivocally, no, I disagree with you.
All right.
I will say, our officers, he's not out there being like, oh, she doesn't understand English, this is a great case.
No,
right?
I never said that. I
They're
just
not there
simply said
to,
that
take advantage or exploit him.
the reason that it went so bad and why I told her not to talk to the guy is I listened to what he said. I knew that wasn't
Right.
true. And I said, this guy's all keyed up, and it's like, don't talk to him.
Let me just be clear about this.
All right.
If your girlfriend calls 911 right now, Officer Fairclaw will risk his life if her life is being threatened.
Oh, I appreciate what
He deeply cares, right? That's why I get a little impassioned about, please don't imply that we're gonna seize a moment of, on a misdemeanor offense,
I'm just
right?
simply talking about errors, not
He's
whether.
not winning a knife set for getting the most arrests for the month, right?
Right.
He's not gonna get the, Chinese American Translation Award for whatever,
Well,
right?
anyway, so.
What I'm saying is,
All right.
at some point, I need you to extend some grace to our officers. They're doing the best they can. We did not do anything deliberately or negligently to mess this up.
Oh,
Mistakes
I
happen,
never said that.
Okay, but at what point are you going to be satisfied with the answers of, this has been looked into, this isn't a negligence issue, this isn't a, we have a beef, this isn't anything. How can we help you move on? Because as previously stated,
Okay, then just
hold
simply.
on, look at me. We have other issues that we could be addressing right now, okay? But I need to move on from this one. What can we do to help you with this one?
It's not so much me, it's my girlfriend. She'll probably never get over this.
Okay, well, I'm not responsible for her feelings, right?
No.
She can come down here anytime she wants, and I'll do my best, right? But as far as me and you, right, and
So.
Mr.
so
Reed and
That's fine.
whoever else, right?
So I'll-
What can we do at this
Just
point?
have Mr. Reed, I'm not gonna be sending any more Freedom of Information Acts. I understand everything. I just need him to answer the ones that he's had, and you can just you can file a report.
Well, here's the thing. He's extended a lot of courtesy to you. Freedom of information for public records request, it's just, he's not Jeeves. It's not Ask Jeeves, right? You're not here to interrogate him. He's not gonna answer anymore. He's been told, don't answer any more questions, right? I will answer your questions. I don't want you harassing him. He's not your problem, right? He's not involved with this.
I understand that.
Right.
But it is his job.
Well, his job is not to answer your questions. That is not his
No,
job.
I didn't ask questions, I asked for documents.
Well, or you're asking, where are these? No, just if you have, like, I want this report, his people's jobs is to get it, right? So, public records requests are just that. Technically, if you're asking for something that they don't have, like, hey, where's the body camera? We don't have it. That's all they're required to do.
That's
I want
right.
you to appreciate.
Then he can write
they've-
a letter and say, the email
Mm-hmm.
scanned into the thing doesn't exist, that's all I need.
Right. So I can help you with that. You're stressing him the hell out.
Yeah, I
Okay? But I don't want you, because here's what I want from you, sir.
All right.
Okay? And this is just a selfish request. I want people, because I think there are some things that you could absolutely help us with. I want people to take you serious. And you're going to get to a point where he's going to be like, oh my gosh, right? I don't want people to be like, oh, it's Brian Vaughn, where I want people
Oh,
to
I'm
be
sure
like,
he's
hey.
already at that point.
But here's the thing. You were characterized before I took over this as being that, just unreasonable, the proverbial air quote Karen, right?